why would your opinion about whether it was a highly contentious custody case matter?
Well, that's for somebody else to decide.
Well, I guess it is. Okay. Welcome back to Georgia Cappleman, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Now, y'all, this is going to be like a follow-up video to, I don't know if it was the last video I did, but a previous video where we are reviewing highlights from the Adelson trial, specifically focused on Georgia, the prosecutor, the lead prosecutor in this trial. So Georgia has an amazing personality. She has a very down-to-earth, I'm going to talk to you like a friend. I'm going to tell you the story like we're on the sofa, you know, and she has a great way of delivering some sarcasm and sass, but in a very professional way. Now, in the previous video, we looked at some of the beginning trials and her rebuttal and Katherine Magbanua on the stand and whatnot, and Wendi herself, right? That Wendi was the wife of the victim, Dan Markel, in this case. And we'll go over a little quick 60-second overview type thing here in a minute. What we're going to be looking at today is a couple of different people, Charlie being one of them and Linda Bailey. Linda Bailey was like a expert on the stand in the Donna Adelson trial. Charlie Adelson would take the stand in his own defense. Of course he did, okay. Now, very quickly, for those who are not familiar, let's just talk about what this is. And the most important person in this case is Dan Markel. Dan Markel was killed. This is down in Florida, in Tallahassee. Someone followed him home from the gym and shot him in his garage. Now, Dan was married to Wendi Adelson. Wendi Adelson is the daughter of Donna Adelson, who's already in prison for helping orchestrate the murder of Dan. She's also the sister of Charlie Adelson, who's already in prison for help orchestrating the murder of Dan. Do you see a common theme going on here? Okay. That being said, whoa, this one's a doozy. So what took place is essentially the state said that Donna Adelson, the mother, orchestrated with Charlie to kill Dan over a custody battle because they wanted Wendi to be able to move down to South Florida with the kids, and because Wendi and Dan were going through a nasty divorce, it wasn't going to happen, right? So Charlie enlisted Katherine Magbanua, like this girlfriend kind of person, and she went to her baby daddy and one of his friends, and they went and killed Dan Markel. And that's the gist of it, but this has gone on for years and years and years. And Georgia has been at the center of this, making sure that Dan's voice has been heard, that justice has been served. I like that. It has ring to it. Dan's voice was heard, justice was served. Okay, can we get a little rap song going? Okay, here we go. So, all that being said, you're going to want to grab your little puppy. Yes, we are. We'll just tuck him in. Grab your little true crime blanket, your cup of whatever you need to get through all this, and let's get into today's video.
Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup and hey, hey.
Now, hold on, everybody. Let's do a quick sofa sidebar now. Keep in mind, ain't no cop, ain't no doctor, ain't no lawyer, ain't no therapist, ain't none of that fancy credentialed stuff, okay? Now, keep in mind also, I'm just giving my opinions on very public information, so do your own research, come to your own opinions, and drop them off in the comment section. And while you're down there, if you do like what you see here at the Sofa Squad, drop a little like, drop a little comment, drop a little share. It helps the channel out immensely. Now, let's get edition. There's 3 ways that Dream has helped me get my sleep game back on track. And I'm going to tell you all about how Dream has been working for me. But first, if you have been on the fence about trying this or thinking, maybe I want to do that, I don't know. You do not want to sleep on this. Pun intended. Dream is literally offering up one of their biggest, bestest, greatest ever, whatever you want to call it, discounts right now. Shop Beam's Black Friday sale with up to 50% off for a limited time. This is Beam's biggest sale of the year and their best deal that I've ever shared for them. So don't miss out. There's no code needed. The discount will auto apply at checkout. So let's talk about how Dream has been helping me get back to dreaming. So let's talk about the 3 ways that Dream has really been working for me. Number 1, it's helped me get into a new routine at my new place. It helps me fall asleep and it helps me stay asleep. Now you might be wondering, well, what exactly is this Dream stuff? My gosh. Dream contains natural sleep ingredients. It's improved 18.5 million nights of sleep. In their perception study, 97% reported on improved healthy nighttime routine, 90% experienced less nighttime restlessness, and 80% said they were sleeping more deeply. So let's real talk how it's worked for me. Like I said, I do a little nighttime routine and getting settled. Like the moving had me completely like unregulated, right, all over the place. So I do my little nightly routine. I get my little bubble bath going. We do that. We come out, we make our dream. We move to the sofa, we hang out there. And then once I can feel it start to hit on where I'm like, okay, I'm like ready to crash, right? And then I move to the bed. Now, as far as staying asleep goes, one of my my issues with falling asleep is I basically have FOMO. So that nightly routine mixed with dream, it really just lulls me into that nighttime, it's sleepy time, let's go to bed. Now, once I'm in bed, here's how it works for me as far as staying asleep. So the dogs will get me up a couple of times during the night. So let's say I go to sleep at 10 o'clock. You can count on them waking me up around like 1:30 or 2 to go to the bathroom, and then maybe around like, I don't know, sometimes not until I get back up in the mornings. If I don't take dream, what will happen is I go to bed at 10 o'clock, I'm up at 11 o'clock, I'm like this, I'm like, okay, well, here we go, let's start the day. And I'm just like, it's 11:15, and now granted, I'm feeling pretty groggy, right? So the dogs getting me up to go to the bathroom is encouraged, right? We like this, that's normal. Waking up every hour on the hour is not, and that is a huge thing that dream has helped with. It's just getting that consistent deep sleep. And the fact that it's all natural is amazing to me. Their ingredients range from reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, melatonin, or some without melatonin, and apigenin. The reputation speaks for itself, and as far as the flavors goes, y'all, the brownie batter has me in a chokehold, okay? Now, I also love the little travel sizes. I call them travel sizes because that's what I use them for, but the single serve thing, and they gave me the cookie dough one, plays. Y'all, literally it makes going to sleep at nighttime like this wonderful little thing of like, ooh, I could have a cup of yumminess. And then to top it off, y'all, I'm not joking, this deal that they're doing is so good. So like I said in the beginning, if you've been thinking about it or you've been considering it, this is when you're going to want to do it and try it. So go ahead and shop Beam's Black Friday sale with up to 50% off for a limited time. This is Beam's biggest sale of the year and the best deal I've ever shared for them. So don't miss out on this. There's no code needed, and the discount will auto apply at checkout. Hello, Sofa Squad, and welcome back to the sofa. That's the sofa. That's a pillow. That's a crime com button. And this is a little puppy. And my name is Paul. If you're new to the channel, and if you're not new to the channel, my name's still Paul. Okay. Now, I already told you what we're doing, so let's just go ahead and jump into these clips. But first, let me tell you who Linda is, who's on the stand. So Linda Bailey is a family law attorney who was called by the defense as an expert witness in the Donna Adelson trial. So Bailey would review Wendi Adelson and Dan Markel's divorce files, emails, texts, all that kind of stuff, and even this correspondence between Donna and Wendi, and other filings as well, to give her opinion on how contentious the divorce and custody fight really was between them. She would basically tell the jury that the divorce and custody fight were much more amicable than many cases I see. That's a quote by her. She would also weigh in on what's being called the grandmother motion, a motion filed by Markel accusing Donna of disparaging him in front of the kids and seeking to restrict her unsupervised access. Bailey said she was taken aback a lawyer would have signed such a motion and said it didn't seem likely to succeed. But there was controversy when she was there. She had sat in the courtroom while other witnesses were testifying, but the judge ultimately allowed her to testify. Now this gets very spicy, very dicey while she's on the stand because Georgia's not putting up with her BS. So let's go ahead and start looking at her time on the stand.
But you're somebody that has vast experience with a ton of divorces, right?
Sure.
The parties only have experience with one divorce. So isn't
sure.
the contentiousness in the eye of the beholder, in the sense that to you it might not seem like a big deal, but to the parties it might be the most important thing in the whole wide world? You agree that a case, as a lawyer, might be routine, whereas to the parties it's the most important thing in the world. And when you communicate these things to your clients, hey, this is no big deal, this is no problem, this is a bunch of gibberish, do they always accept that? Do they ever get upset about the gibberish in the pleadings, the offensive materials in the pleadings, regardless of whether or not it's going to impact their chance of success in court? It can be emotionally charged, can it?
Now again, this is what I love about Georgia, and let me say this beforehand, I forgot to say in this video at the beginning, I forgot to say in the last one, these clips have been edited down. As you can see, there's jump cuts in them, so this was not a continuous way that this was done. My focus was on like trying to get these clips of like what Georgia was saying and whatnot, so there's that. Okay, so now remember, this is an expert for the defense who's getting up there, oh, this wasn't that bad of a divorce. Oh no, this is a bunch of gibberish, this was a bunch of this is a bunch of that. And what Georgia's trying to say is maybe to you because you see tons of these, but this is their only divorce. So who are we to say, right? You can't really say what's contentious to one person, it could be to the other. And this woman will not, she is earning that defense paycheck. She will not admit to the most common sense things. And I do not think that her testimony went over well with the jury at all. In Georgia, in my opinion, she ate. Okay, let's just say what it, she ate.
Well, I would say annoying more than emotionally charged.
You would not say that divorce and child custody issues are emotionally charged? They weren't? How do you know?
From the pleadings, because I don't have 10,000 pages in front of me.
You're not in the mind of the people whose lives are impacted by these pleadings. It's not just about pieces of paper and a binder, is it?
I love Georgia how she talks with her hands, because I did the same thing where she's like, but how, let me recenter, how would you know, right? I mean, it's like, this is what I said in the last video with Georgia. She talks like she's one of us, right? She's got the fancy law degree, she's got all that, but she knows how to be accessible. She knows how to be relatable. She knows how to talk to a jury, but most importantly, she knows how to talk to the people on the stand in a way that the jury can relate to it and see how she pulls out the truth, right? Whether it be with an expert who's trying to like dig their heels in it, not admit to anything that's like very obvious common sense, or a defendant who's trying to lie and stay out of prison for murdering somebody.
Out of the court.
Ma'am, could you please answer my question? Are people's lives impacted in drastic ways by routine matters that we see in court as lawyers? So like, I may think I've got a bag of stinky garbage, but the garbage man might not think it's stinky at all. Do you get the reference?
I don't.
What is no big deal to us is a big deal to these litigants, right? You can't agree with that. You can't agree with it. Strike the question.
You can't agree with it. You know, Georgia wanted to come up over the counter. She wanted to come over the counter. This part right here is just like she wanted to shake her and be like, you cannot, like, how can you not? Because also what she did is she made this woman look so bad. Like this woman getting up here, she just made her seem like this cold, callous, really out of touch person, right? What she made her look like was somebody just getting a paycheck. But she did it in such a classy way, just asking common sense questions of like, you're up here saying this wasn't very contentious, but how do you know that? Well, I mean, this isn't a big deal. Well, that's not a big deal. Well, this isn't that much. What are you talking about?
The allegation is grandma is disparaging me to these kids and I won't tolerate it, right? Couldn't that be upsetting to grandma? Gibbers, according to the evidence in this case, means Jew in boots. It's not a flattering term by that definition or by your definition of someone that speaks gibberish. Can we agree it's not a flattering term?
Now, this is one of the nicknames that they gave Dan during this. And so this is what she's referring to and trying to say like the context of what they did. And again, she cannot get this woman to admit to anything, even like this nickname, even any of the stuff, right? She just doubles down.
Mr. Markel wasn't paying by the deadline. Isn't that something that would be potentially upsetting to the parties or their family members?
I don't know how upsetting $80,000 would be. I don't know.
$80,000 is a lot of money, isn't it, Miss Bailey?
Depends on who you are.
That right there, that's what's so relatable with Georgia, because that's what we're thinking. This attorney's up here saying like, I don't know, $80,000, it depends on who you ask. I mean, technically, yeah, like if you want to talk to like Bill Gates or whoever, that's probably not a lot of money, but somebody who probably has an appreciation of money, like no matter what, $80,000 is a lot of money, okay? That's a lot of money. And so to get up there and not say that type of stuff, it just shows, to me, at least to the jury, it's like, this person's not going to admit anything common sense. They're not going to admit to any of that. This is just, don't even pay attention. Now, with all that being said, right, this one really, like, you could tell, I don't want to say got under Georgia's skin, but like, you could tell Georgia was like, I can't with this woman, okay? I can't. But now let's meet the ultimate boss, and I can't with this person. Let's see her and how she handles Charlie on the stand.
I've ever heard the saying that the simplest explanation is always the most likely. Have you heard that?
I've heard that theory before, yeah.
Was your explanation to the jury over the last little over a day the simplest explanation? I mean, you have a thorough explanation. Do you agree that the only problem with having an explanation for everything is that there's just so many explanation.
So this right here, would you say that your explanation was the simplest of explanations? You have a thorough explanation. Charlie had an excuse for everything and walked in so many circles you wanted to bang your head on the counter. Not only that, but the man loves to talk so much that even, people at the end of it were all like, oh my God, please don't make us listen to another phone call from Charlie. He doesn't stop, man. Literally, he wakes up in the morning, I think, and starts mansplaining everything around him. It's like how he interacts with the world is through mansplaining it, right? Like he's gonna sit here and tell you, well, I would have done the sofa this way. I would have built it like this over the factory. It's like, why does that matter? We're just sitting on it. Shut up. But all of this time, Georgia was done with this man, okay? And so was Georgia. Nobody wanted to hear these phone calls anymore. They were finished.
Right, but as you sit here today, you think it's Magbanua, Garcia, and Rivera. Is that accurate?
No, that's not accurate.
Okay. Who extorted you?
Now, this is where we get into Charlie's excuse, which is the extortion. This is what the family has gone with. They have had to lock into this. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. For whatever reason, the Adelsons got it in their mind that that was the most logical thing. It didn't matter all the phone calls, the bump, any of that. And poor Georgia had to sit up here and endure dealing with this BS on the stand of them trying to convince her that this is, or convince her and the jury that this is really what happened. She wasn't having it.
At the time, though, you did not think she was guilty. We got that right. The time of the extortion.
In 2014?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And then so exactly when you found out would be, I think you said, her trial. Right, so for 3 years she was in the Leon County Jail awaiting trial, yes?
She was there.
And she was innocent.
Yes.
And you had this whole explanation to assist with exonerating her, right?
Now, another thing to keep in mind if you're unfamiliar with this trial is Charlie loves gauging stuff on percentages. Okay? We hear it in the phone calls. We hear it on the stand. We hear it after he's convicted. We've heard I'm like 85% sure that it's not the cops. Okay? I'm talking 99.9%. It's the investigator. We don't have nothing to worry about. We're not being extorted. It's only the FBI, right? It's insane. The lawyer told me if I got a 77% on the test on the stand, he was driving me home. And then shocked when it came up 0% chance of walking out of there, right? 0%. Okay, so this is the whole convoluted mess that he's trying to talk his way out of. And none of it makes sense, and Georgia does such a good job at showing that to the jury.
You didn't offer the truth of what happened, did you? Someone have to come to you? I'm talking about the first layer of the extortion. Did you have any contact with the thugs that were getting your money for 2 years?
No.
All right, so when Katherine Magbanua came to you on July 18th and said, open the safe and give me all your money, she was not armed.
She was not carrying a gun that day, no.
Were you armed at that time? Did you have a weapon in your home?
The way Charlie... I don't want to know. I don't want to say anything about that question there. Charlie would have you believe that Katherine Magbanua, who we saw in the last video, if you're unfamiliar with this, the first lady on the stand, who got 2 trials and finally convicted, turned state's evidence, and then came clean about everything, how he would have you convinced that she was extorting him while they paid them and, monthly payments. He gave her boob jobs, teeth cleanings for everybody, the whole 9 yards, dating her, everything, right? But nope, she was extorting him.
So it had to be some kind of, I paid, but I did it under duress, based on that piece of evidence, right? That had to be built into your defense.
I was extorted, and I paid the money.
All right, so Katie comes in and she's in a panic, and she tells you what's happened. And I need all the money in your safe right now. Do you suspect that maybe she's working with the police? At that point, maybe she's trying to set you up?
No, she didn't say I need all the money in your safe. That's not what she said.
Did she take all the money in your safe?
I cleaned out all the money in my safe.
But did she take all the money? You're safe. You know, and again, we're going to walk around all the answers to these or whatever. But again, you see how Georgia, even with somebody with a ridiculous story as Charlie has in the stand, she, you know, she roughs him up a little bit because the story gets so absurd. And one thing I said in the last video, and I'll say it again here, that I really love about Georgia is that she knows how to lock into the absurdity of the Adelsons and the lies that they're telling and the ridiculousness of it and bring that to light. That's one of the things that with true crime I tend to lock into as well, is like the absurdity of it. I find humor in it, and where I'm just like, you're what? Katherine, you know, you're trying to tell me that Katherine was extorting you? The one who you're in the lovey-dovey picture with? And she did a payment plan? Yeah, that kind of a thing. And that's how Georgia talks. That's how she talks up there. And it makes her seem like you're hanging out with a friend who's telling you about the case. And not in an unprofessional way, but in a way that we can all relate to. And most importantly, a way that we can all believe.
The bump was only $5,000, and you immediately became suspicious and questioning and had all these conversations and deliberations about what to do about it for days. When Katie comes to you, you just open the safe and give her the money, right?
That's what I did. And there's a big difference between the two.
There's a big difference. There's like a 72.345% difference between those two things. But again, you see how she's putting the ridiculousness out here? You got all worried about this, but with her, Katie comes through and it's just, oh, well, here, take what you want, girl. No, because the reality is he gave her the money to give to the dudes to pay them to kill Dan, period, right? Period. That's what they were doing, and they did it. And I mean, it was an ongoing thing. But that she was transitioning the money, and she'll admit to this later, going there and getting the money, right? So I don't really know what to say to him at that point, other than, bro, wrap it up.
On the wire, you say repeatedly, that's not the way it's done. You knew that the undercover agent was law enforcement, or at least strongly suspected, because that's not the way it's done. You're an expert on extortion because you've been extorted before, and that's how you knew that's not the way it's done. Is this the way it's done? Do extortionists send a girlfriend of their victim to collect their extortion money?
Again, you also notice that what she says here, you're an expert on this, you're an expert on dealing with this, you're an expert on this. Charlie is an expert at everything, y'all. Charlie knows. This is what I'm telling you. The man wakes up and he mansplains his way through the day. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen any, like, literally a courtroom collectively be like, please, for the love of God, don't play another Charlie phone call. It was one of the worst things I've ever had to go through myself. Okay, so all the phone calls that were released, if you follow me, you'll know I do, like, you know, phone call reactions and whatnot. Usually phone calls from prison. She's very good about being like, yeah, you can use these, you know, give me a shout out, whatever. You know, just give me credit. If you haven't followed her channel, make sure to. She's great. She has tons of phone calls on there from Charlie, the Adelson, Mackenzie Shirilla, you name it. So long story short, she has a bunch of the phone calls after the convictions. And when I did one of them, I was like, I can't with this. I can't listen to Charlie anymore. Even Donna on the phone is like, you know, please make him shut up. You can tell she just, like, she'll zone out. Anybody would, right? And so this is where you know that Georgia's just like, oh my God. Do you know how much time she's had to, like, inadvertently spend around this man, right? And for him to just get on the stand and literally just almost like, I don't want to say talk to her, but almost like assume she's an idiot and that the jury is an idiot too.
And at that point, the blackmailer, Katherine Magbanua, negotiates some type of layaway plan for you to complete the extortion with the Latin kings?
Okay, Katie wasn't the blackmailer, and Katie wasn't the one who was extorting me.
Didn't you just tell this jury that Katie was the blackmailer? You realized it in 2019.
He can't keep up with it. And you see, Georgia, this is where she gets feisty, right? Because again, she's accentuating the ridiculousness of the story, okay? She knows when to reel it. She knows when to hold them, knows when to fold them. But she knows when to do that, when to bring light to it, because it is insane. His logic doesn't make sense because he's making it up. The Adelsons think they are above the law. I don't know if they view things in a moral way or if it's in a, well, no, we know that we did this, but the evidence that we see that you have, we don't think proves it, so therefore we're not guilty, right? Even though the evidence is pretty overwhelming.
Night happened in 2014.
we all know now, because you have revealed the puzzle piece, she's a blackmailer. Can we agree on that?
I believe, sitting here in 2023,
Yes.
that she was in on the extortion for sure.
Yes. So is it okay if I refer to her as a blackmailer?
I think there's a difference between blackmail and extortion, but yeah,
Okay.
sitting here today, we can, sure.
We'll refer to her as an extortionist. So this woman, the extortionist, is going to do you a solid by negotiating with the Latin Kings for you to get on a payment plan for the extortion. Isn't that what happened?
What you're doing is you're taking what we know in 2003 and trying to say, this is what I knew in 2014.
Did she put you on a payment plan?
Yes.
After all that. Yes, that's where we're trying to go, Charlie. And you see how Georgia did that? Like, did she put you on a payment plan? We don't want to know about what you realized 10 years later and 2 years later and this, that, and the other and blah, 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 blah. We're not interested in that. Did the Latin Kings put you on a payment plan, girl? Just spit it out.
Were you able to go to the gym the next
I
morning?
absolutely didn't leave the house. I worked it out at Nova Southeastern Gym, and you can check the gym records. I was never there.
And that was intentional at the time, but it sucks for your defense, right? Because that would be a huge piece of evidence for you to show this jury, wouldn't it? Well, you had privacy on the phone, right? At least you thought you had privacy on the phone.
Now that's that snark right there that Georgia does. She delivers it so well. At least you thought you had privacy on the phone. Because the fact of the matter is, there's hours of phone calls from these people recorded. They were being secretive, I'll say that, but Charlie couldn't shut up on the phone. Everyone else was like, let's not talk about this. Let's not talk about this on the phone. He could not help himself, right? And I love how Georgia sneaks that in there, or I should say slides it in, not sneaks. We thought that, right? Again, she speaks the same way. I mean, to me, it's like the voice in my head is Georgia.
Yeah, I said all those things.
Do you agree that this picture does not look like a relationship between an extortionist and her victim?
I agree, because Katie wasn't the extortionist.
She was the extortionist.
In 2014 and
No.
2015, I didn't believe that.
I know you didn't believe it, but we're looking back now, okay?
It's like, if you're going to quote me, date me.
I don't want to date you, Charlie. I wish you had said something like that. It's like, dude, it's like, if you're going to quote me, date me. I mean, he's so bro. You know what I mean? Like, he's just so like, look, dude, is this ladies' night? Where's the ladies' night at in this town?
The love text, which is what I'm referring to all these texts, where you're still nice to this person after you break up with her. You're still doing favors for this person after you break up with her. I mean, that's like a major problem for your defense, isn't it?
It's a major problem, right? You break up with this person. They're also extorting you, but you're doing all these favors for them. You're doing all this stuff. Huge problem for the defense. And she'll call this out multiple times in this. And again, the way that she does it and the way that she talks to him in that way, like because she's like almost pretending with him. And it's almost like, okay, you know what? We're going to use this tactic, Charlie. We're going to put your pretend story up here and we're going to dissect it and we're going to walk you through it. We're going to pretend that's real and just let the jury hear this. But we're also going to point out the ridiculous nature of it along the way.
It's normal with kids. You have a routine to put them to bed.
Right.
You
All
gotta
the
brush
kind
your
of
teeth.
things.
Can't forget to brush your teeth.
Yeah. A little dental humor couldn't hurt, right?
A little dental humor couldn't hurt, right? This is what I love her. She's so funny. I mean, couldn't you see yourself like having a beer or a glass of wine or a cup of coffee, whatever, with her hanging out like by the pool, like talking about this? That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like with her. Like you could see yourself doing that. And the way that she talks is the way that she would be telling you the story, like in a setting like that. And it's not that it's unprofessional, but it's that relatable. And I think attorneys like her who are able to do that, who are able to remain grounded while, taking their knowledge, their credentials, that's what we call it, and all that professionalism, and at the same time remaining grounded and accessible enough to make the everyday layman understand that. Because think about a jury, your peers, like, we're not lawyers, we're not this or that. People out here doing their stuff, whatever. We don't have all that book knowledge, okay? I mean, the most of us don't. I certainly don't. Maybe little Bobo does. He might. I don't know.
Does your mom have a favorite child?
She says she doesn't have favorites, but I don't think she likes my older brother.
Okay. But is Wendi the favorite?
I'd like to think it's a tie between me and her.
Were you laughing when Wendi was on the stand and I read all the names that Donna referred to Dan Markel as?
No, I laughed when you said the word fucker in court.
Okay. Now, the whole thing up here, too. Yes, Wendi is the favorite child. It's very weird. Yes, Donna, I think Donna wrote Rob off. I mean, he testified against her. Rob's the most sane one. He ran away from this family. He saw the writing on the wall. He's like, I've got to get out of here. I can't deal with this drama. You know, and my heart breaks for him because it's like, you can tell that he's the normal level-headed one. If you watch the trial, when he took the stand, you could tell that this is what an innocent person sounds like. The way that he spoke about contacting authorities, all this kind of stuff. You know, his mom didn't even seem concerned with who killed Dan. You know, it was such a contrast to how the other Adelsons acted about it, and it made it even more obvious. And so that's why I'm sure Donna cut him off. You know, just like he said, I don't think she likes my older brother Rob.
Did your mom refer to the children as her sunshines?
No, the kids were 3 and 4. A 3 and 4-year-old can't repeat a conversation and remember words 6 hours later and repeat it accurately.
Can we agree that she obviously knew something about this crime?
I never told her anything.
I'm talking about the murder of Dan Markel. She knew something, right? I mean, it's not a coincidence she went to the crime scene, is it? I'm talking about her pulling up to the crime scene tape.
She never went to the crime scene. She was going to buy a bottle of liquor that, coincidentally, the person sent her a stock the bar party for buy a bottle of Bullet bourbon.
Oh, that Bullet bourbon that Wendi bought. If you watch my last video, this part already came up on the stand. Now you see, even Charlie, she didn't go to the crime scene. She didn't go to the crime scene. Well, we've talked to people who have lived, they know the area that Wendi lives in, or lived in, I'm sorry. They know that area, they know where the stores are, they know this and that. And there was zero reason for Wendi to take the direction that she did to go to that specific alcohol store when there was one very close to where she was having this little luncheon thing with her friends. This was very much I'm driving by to confirm it. And even people identified her car there when she pulled down the road. But she wants to make it, I didn't go to the crime scene. Honey, you were right there. Like, okay, maybe you didn't walk in his house, right? But, and then no care or concern either seeing all this crime scene stuff of calling to check on the children, calling to check on Dan. No, because she knew, well, I shouldn't say that. It's very suspicious.
That she wasn't driving to a crime scene. And I think she made that clear too.
She pulled up to the crime scene tape, Dr. Adelson.
She did, but she wasn't going to.
She couldn't help herself.
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She exposed you all to some degree by those actions, didn't she?
No.
And she threw you under the bus in her interview, didn't she? She knew her husband had just been shot, and they were asking her who would want him dead, and she said your name. Are you mad about that? Are you familiar with your charges in this case?
Are you even familiar with what you're being charged with, Charlie? So this is a good example of Georgia roughing him up, you know, and going in for her, like, the hammering, right? But even if, like, think in your mind of, like, another state attorney or a defense or whoever that goes in for the hammering and the hardcore and the this and the that. Now, remember, Charlie's taking the stand in his own defense. So this is the man accused, okay? So notice the difference in how she, say, comes at Wendi, who we might all have our thoughts on her, but technically she's never been charged or, you know, whatever with anything, versus someone like Charlie where she's roughing him up, but she still has this, I don't even know if the word gentleness is about it, but it's not hardcore. It's not off-putting. And I said this in the last video, I'll say it again, I say it oftentimes when we're talking about, you know, strategy and lawyers and things of this nature. Georgia presents the right amount of emotion to match the scenario. If she was sitting here and slamming her feet down, doing this and being overly loud and aggressive, while it is outrageous and we're like, oh my God, this guy's up here lying, whatever, we don't believe him, it really wouldn't match. It would feel inauthentic. And I believe that when attorneys can deliver whatever it is, if they're angry, great, be that way, but don't overdo it, okay? Don't oversell it, because then what it says is, this feels cringy, number one, this feels false, this feels whatever, okay? It makes it, well, why should I believe them if they're sitting here putting this performance on? And that's the key here, to me, at least, with Georgia, is she doesn't put a performance on. She's just real.
He's making that up. And then on 2/19 of 14, Donna texts you again to tread lightly with Wendi and refers to Dan Markel as an asshole and a right?
Sorry.
And and you heard Charlie, he's already like, sorry. He giggles. He's like a little high school boy. I'm telling you, that's why I made that joke with him where it's like, hey, it's ladies' night. Where the girls at? When the girls get here? It's like, Charlie, this is the Wendy's. Okay, that's his favorite little restaurant, right? So, but you see how Georgia, she has this like little sense of humor about her too. And you know, and let's be honest, her outfits are amazing. Okay, she's up there slaying on the daily.
You made me laugh. Sorry.
That's what I'm here for.
And on that note, we will end the ode to Georgia, right? I just absolutely adore her. I adore how she handled this trial. I think she did an amazing job. She's done this for years and years and years and years. She has kept Dan's voice alive and brought justice to him. And we'll see what else comes from it, right? If any other charges will come, wink, wink, you know what I'm talking about, for anyone else involved in it. That being said, I asked this in the last video, but I'm curious too, to hear, in case people are seeing this one instead of the other one, you know, do you have a favorite prosecutor, a trial where a prosecutor was like, you thought they were amazing? Because I'd be curious, because I love good prosecutors, right? One of the key ingredients to me for a good prosecutor is some of the things I've already mentioned here, which is not overselling it, being accessible, being real, not coming off as too, like, say, hoity-toity, right? But also, and again, I guess I would just sum it up with authenticity, okay? And Georgia is one of those that is authentic. Also, someone that knows how to tell a story. And when I say tell a story, ultimately we're talking about the victim's story, right? Because that's what they're doing. Everything is moving toward the victim, the crime, justice, okay? And that's why I think you see a lot of attorneys who like English, you know, backgrounds and not speaking, but you know, English writing, these kind of majors and whatnot, pre-law are very big, because I think obviously research and presentation is huge, but also I think in understanding the craft of storytelling, because ultimately that's what they're doing. They're putting a story together to bring to the jury and say, do you believe this story or not, or do you believe their story more than mine? And I think that Georgia is an amazing storyteller in that way, right? She brings the victims, and in this case, Dan's story, his life, alive for the jury to hear and see. Because especially in a case like this, where there's so much drama, there's so many years of things going on, the victims' voices tend to get buried and tend to get lost, right? And so clearly she's made sure that hasn't happened. So if you're still watching, I greatly appreciate it. If you could, pretty please, drop some little comments off about the little questions that I asked down in the comment section. And if you could, while you're in the comment section doing all that, if you could, drop some little pillows off down there for myself, Roscoe in spirit, Bo, and you, the Sofa Squad, the most important. You make the channel possible. It would not be here without you, and I greatly appreciate you. And until we all gather down there in the comment section to do all that crazy stuff, I'll see y'all soon.
I just wanted to say thank you again for watching the whole video, and also thank you for being part of the Sofa Squad. Special thanks to all the Patreon members, channel members from both of my channels, everybody who likes, shares, subscribes, comments in the comment sections. It helps the channel out so much. Now, don't forget, I do have that other channel, the podcast channel. That's where we go live, we hang out, we talk. We have kind of sort of a schedule, but just be sure and check it out. I'll put it up here on the screen. And then, like I said in the beginning of the video, if you want to follow me and Roscoe on the Instagram, go on, check it out. It's right here on the screen again. But once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being part of the Sofa Squad, and I'll see you in the next video.
Welcome to the Sofa Squad, sipping from the cup that hey, 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 come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough.